Welcome to Universal Design Stories of Change. This podcast series aims to gather the experiences of persons with disabilities in Norway and internationally in order to gain a greater understanding of the benefits of universal design for persons with disabilities and everyone. We would like to thank the Norwegian Directorate for Children, Youth, and Families for their support, and the amazing team from Inclusive Creation for making it all happen. Enjoy this episode. You mentioned this, for innocent reasons, and I think that's the crux of it, right? Because I don't think any designer seeks to exclude their users. I don't think there's designers out there that are like actively trying to make things inaccessible. It's in part ignorance and lack of awareness. We'll say that rather than ignorance. I'm wondering, as an educator, you teach at a university. How do you see the role of education in that kind of environment, being able to, whether it's cultivate awareness, build skills, or anything like that? What do you see as the optimal role for an educator?
We try very hard at NTNU from the very early stages of study programs to make sure people understand this challenge. And that's a combination of various things. I mean, partially it's because we have very, very experienced architects that work here who see the good and the bad. But these are people who've made building themselves and may have made these mistakes themselves and have learned from it. We have also, more disabled students than ever on the whole spectrum of disabilities. And it's very funny we having this conversation because I yesterday was walking through campus and saw students sat in wheelchairs and with sticks for the blind, where the engineering faculty were educating students on navigating with a disability. So they were putting able-bodied students in wheelchairs and putting tape over their eyes to show them these challenges, because I am not blind. I can sit here and come up with loads of solutions to how to make buildings more accessible to the blind. Probably most of them would be okay, but there are little nuanced things I wouldn't think of, such as just, placement of handrails, texture of certain things to make people aware of things. So I think it's very important that we don't only just tell people that to consider disabilities, because that's easy to do, right? To be superficially considerate is very easy, but we need to place students into the environment where they understand. And sometimes that is a case of putting people in wheelchairs for an afternoon, where they're not going to learn all of the disability experience. But they will, if they can understand that life is more difficult than they think to navigate, that might be enough for them to, first of all, to consider this in their design, or secondly, to think, let's go and speak to a wheelchair user. We're going to design a house. Let's speak to a wheelchair user, or somebody blind, or somebody with autism, and see what are the things that they would need in their house to make them happier. And of course, people who are autistic or in wheelchairs aren't automatically great architects. Right? Having a disability doesn't give you necessarily all the skills to make design decisions. I mean, I would love to have, my whole wall in my house is to be a big TV for my Xbox, but I think my electricity bill would go through the roof and probably my wall couldn't handle the weight. So we need architects as well. and architects without disabilities are perfectly positioned to do a good job. But I think what I'm trying to get at here is that we really, from an educator's perspective, need to show the value of multidisciplinarity. That it takes an army and a team to make good design, and that army isn't just an army of different skills. It's not just an army of getting architects and engineers and facilities managers in a room. It's also making sure that you engage with users, because that's what you're building for.
Absolutely. I couldn't put it better myself. That's absolutely brilliant. And I love how you've kind of framed the role of education as that kind of ignition switch, give them that sense of inspiration so that then they can take that forward in their work and really integrate that into their workflows and their processes. We've covered a bit of ground. I'm wondering, we're going to wrap up here. So I'm just wondering if you had any last words that you would like to kind of commit, or any sort of advice that you might want to give, whether it's entrepreneurs just starting off a new business, or even people who are maybe starting a new job and who want to take this work forward. One piece of advice.
I think it's to be an innovator. I mean, we have so many problems we are yet to solve. And I think that people who want to start businesses or people who want to enter creative industries, there's a lot of money to be made. If you want to be rich solving universal design, we have solved so little of it so far that if that's what you want to do and you want to be a design hero and you want to make a career out of it, we have people like Maureen Laverty here at NTNU making universal design orientated clothing. That didn't really exist in this way before she started it. So I think for people who start businesses, so my message to existing employers is talk to your employees. You don't know everything, neither do your employees either. They don't know everything. Speak to people, make sure you understand what they need, because people who research tends to suggest that people would rather have better working conditions than better pay. And it's true that you spend, if people have a full-time job, they usually spend more time at work than they do with their kids. So you need to get your work life right. So that's where universal design can help. And secondly, everybody out there who is a creative thinker, we have so many problems to solve. Be a hero and help us solve them. Use your creative talent and drive. If you don't have one of these disabilities or challenges yourself, make a friend with somebody who does, or speak to them, because we can change the world as long as we have the sort of the momentum and passion to do it. I'm very optimistic for the future of humanity and universal design.
You're brilliant. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the chat. You've got such a great perspective on these issues, and yeah, well done.
Thank you, George.